Oye, mi gente, it's June, and that means the start of summer. La playa, vacation.
And it's also National Dairy Month.
Makes sense. Ice cream, milkshakes, cheese on your burger and the barbecue. Okay, I'm about to start drooling all over this microphone.
No, claro that you're drooling. Pretty much all those summer favorites are made with real Florida dairy products.
Okay, so that means they're not only delicious, but also nutritious.
And don't forget locally sourced.
Okay, now I'm really looking forward to a Florida dairy summer.
Bueno, in that case, visit floridamilk.com or lechedeflorida.com today for info on the benefits of dairy and more ways to enjoy dairy all year long. Also, don't forget to look for the number 12 under the sale by date on your gallon of milk. If it starts with a 12, it's Florida milk. This is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is
Season 6 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
I put my little dot on the finger, and I was just like,
I love that. Before I hit record, and you guys have already hit the ground running. So I know we're gonna have a great time, mi gente. So I am again here at the Arsht Center. I mean, you know, we love the Arsht Center. We do a lot with the Arsht Center. You know, we were here with #Graced. We've come to the Broadway series. We do the community dance. I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm gonna just ask the. They have like a little, bed I can just keep here and roll out once in a while. But this time around, we're here talking with 3 of the playwrights with this summer's Summer Shorts Homegrown Edition, which is the Arsht Center and in partnership with City Theater, presenting, I think it's 8 short plays that are written by some of Miami's best and brightest emerging talents. And I mean, no shade to the other talent, but I'm going to say I think I got the brightest here with me, just because you're here with me. By default. So I have with me today Ariel Cipolla, right? Did I pronounce that correctly, or Cipolla?
No, Cipolla.
Cipolla, it's Italian.
It's Italian. It's
okay.
Like it's onion in Italian.
Okay.
Yeah. Long lineage of onion farming.
Listen, my last name is Llano. That means the plains. So plains, onions, we got each other. Also with Ivan Lopez. And last but certainly not least, Lolita Stewart White. Thank you, all 3 of you, for joining me today. And I mean, again, it's a round table here. We're talking about the Summer Shorts Homegrown Edition. It's an opportunity for the Arsht to really put the spotlight on local talent, which is one of the things that I love that the Arsht does. They don't just say they're about the community, they actually are about the community in so many different ways. So I kind of want to go around the table, because we're at a round table. Last time I was here, it was a square table. I already told Alex, next time I want a triangle. I had a rectangle, a circle, and a triangle. That's what I want. So I'm seeing the camaraderie between the 3 of you. Like, it's one of the few times I wish it was a video podcast, right? Because I'm seeing it, I'm here for it. But I am going to start with you, Lolita, because I was raised a gentleman, and so that means ladies first. So, okay, I'll do a little bio here on you before we get into it. So, you are a playwright, poet, screenwriter from Liberty City. Your work has appeared in the Boston Review, the Iowa Review, Plowshares, and most recently was anthologized in Blackfire This Time. And now you're here at the Arsht with your play. So tell us a little bit about what you're bringing back home.
You mean as far as my play is concerned? Woo, you did your homework, baby. You did your homework.
I told you, I don't come too prepared, but I come prepared enough to seem smart.
Well, my play, the name of my play is 7. And it's about a woman who is minutes before she's supposed to get married.
Oh.
And she has to make a decision about either remarrying her current husband or reuniting with her cheating ex.
Oh, you would think that would be an easy decision. You would think, right? But we've all been there. We've all been in that situation. I mean, maybe not at the altar necessarily, but I think we've all been in that similar situation. And so is the name of it is 7. Is that a reference to the amount of minutes that she has? Or?
It's a reference to what it is it's the creation of a bill through Congress where couples must marry every 7 years or the marriage is null and void, baby. Null and void. Did you hear it? Did you hear me? For all you married couples out there, did you hear me?
You know, I'm just going to go on a limb here. I don't know if any of y'all are married. I am not. But I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that marriages should be reevaluated at least every presidential term. So in this case, it's 7, right? But
It's 7?
8 years, right? Like if the president has to go, I think it's time to reassess certain things. Not a bad idea.
Listen, the 7-year itch.
That's true.
The 7-year.
That's true.
Lolita for Congress.
Yes.
This is her official running campaign.
There it is.
The problem with the 7-year itch, though, is that some people tend to have a rash. There's not amount of Desitin that's going to help some of those folk.
What is so funny is it depends on where, because I'm married and have been married forever. Okay, forever. And is my husband listening to this podcast?
I don't know. Surprise, he's here behind the door.
And even with my marriage, and I'm happily married, but it would have depended upon which 7 years as to where my mind would be.
That's fair.
I think it's an interesting concept.
That is very fair.
Baby, please don't listen to this.
That's That's the surprise at the end of your play is whether or not you stay married. And every night the answer changes.
I love it.
I do love interactive theater. So I'm gonna go to my onion friend, Ariel. So you are Mexican Argentine playwright and dramaturg, which I have to say I love that term dramaturg. I only learned what it meant because I watched Smash.
Oh my God, yes.
On NBC. So that's the only reason I know what that is. Otherwise, I'd be like, oh, what part of the country is that from? I'd be like, where's dramaturg? Is that next to Tampa? But you're living in Miami, and you recently, there was a workshop production, was presented at FIU of your full-length play, So You Think You Can Stay. So what do we have to look forward to with the summer shorts from Ariel?
Well, thank you so much for having us. So my play is called The Vultures.
The Vultures?
Yes.
Okay.
Super sinister.
Okay. Seven, The Vultures. Because Seven was a very famous horror movie, right? And now you've got The Vultures.
Yeah.
Is there a theme here?
We're feeding off of each other.
Yes.
Actually, that's always how this works. We end up feeding off of each other's energies. But no, The Vultures is about 3 teenage girls who get together the summer before high school to reinvent themselves online to ensure success and popularity for the next 4 years and perhaps beyond.
Okay. I have to say, though, I know we were just joking about it being a horror thing, but there is nothing scarier than preteen girls.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
I
the
think
truth.
it's just that age group.
That is so true.
I cross the street if I see a gaggle of them. And my self-esteem cannot take it because they will criticize something and they won't tell me, but they'll look in my direction. And I'm not here for that.
I think then you should stay away from arts during the production of The Vultures, because that's exactly what it is. It's just teenage girls being teenage girls, and the worst of it can come. So yeah.
That's interesting. So I'm gonna come back, so we can talk about everything. But I do want to shift over to, last but not least, Ivan Lopez, Cuban American playwright, theater artist. You're born and raised in Miami, like myself.
Right.
I gotta ask, what part of Miami?
Little Havana.
Little Havana.
Shenandoah.
Okay, I'm from Westchester. I won't hold that against you. You are on the theater faculty at FIU, Florida International University, and you've directed and acted in Miami, New York, Denver, and Atlanta. So definitely a nice little robust career you got there, my friend.
Yeah, just love the theater. So
wherever
it takes me,
clearly,
I go
as it should. So what do you got in store for us as part of the Summer Shorts Homegrown Edition?
So my play is called "I Found This on the Web," and it's a dating play.
Again. Horror, right? I found this on the web. It's not
you could kind of say that. But it's a play about dating in the age of infinite intelligence. So it's hard to talk about this play without giving a little bit of a spoiler.
Okay, well, I don't want that. I don't want spoilers given away.
A little bit of a spoiler, but
I love it. Yeah, confer, get together, decide before
with the committee.
I feel like I'm playing Family Feud.
Okay, I won't tell you why, but there's I think part of the genesis of the idea was my interest in artificial intelligence and how it's kind of transforming things and thinking about different areas of our lives that artificial intelligence might have something to say.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the non-spoilery answer to that question.
Okay, all
but
right.
it's a fun dating play, and yes, it's there's a bit of a nightmare in there.
In the theater, that's called conflict. So one of the things I wanted to, I know she wasn't able to join us today, Vanessa Garcia, you have heard her episode with #Grace, just wrapped up here at the Arsht, and it was fantastic. I mean,
It was.
love her, love the
Yes.
work, love everything that she does and everything she puts into her work.
And she's all over the Miami theater scene now.
Oh, she is.
Every theater
She's-
is doing
yeah.
a Vanessa Garcia play.
Yeah. I think she may have been cloned, like just to kind of piggyback off of your thing, and there might be some AI working in there because it's just logistically impossible for her to be everywhere at once, but it seems like she is.
No,
That
she's-
explains a lot.
She's
That explains a lot.
boss.
You know what? That's what
She's
it is.
boss.
She's boss.
And on
She's
top
boss.
of it all, she's an amazing mother.
Oh my God, yes.
And an amazing person.
Yes. Yeah,
She's so giving too. Like
really
it's
is.
Oh my goodness.
just phenomenal.
She's an
She really
angel.
is. All right. Well, I'm gonna give you the checks that she gave me to give you. Right. So you can say that. Yeah. But no. So you are working with Vanessa. She's working with all the playwrights, everyone involved in the summer shorts. Developing these new works about the Magic City. And I do have a quote here from her that I was actually provided by the Arsht Center that I thought was really lovely. She says, there's so much talent in Miami. This program shines a light on that talent and helps launch it beyond the greater Miami area into the world. These are the voices that need to hit I'm going to rephrase that. These are the voices that need to hit the mainstream and represent what it means to be American today. And they will. So all I can say is get ready.
Ooh.
All right.
Wait, here we go.
She made it sound so cool.
All right. So
Y'all should be snapping on that. What
she
you
is
doing?
she is like, listen, I don't know what.
Yeah.
Are we synchronizing the snap?
Yes.
Like a little jazz club.
I want in on this. Are we a beat culture now?
Yeah.
Beat
I'm a
poets
poet.
now,
I'm a
right?
poet.
You
That's
are.
what we
You
do.
are. There
Little
you go.
shark action.
Lo, you're a much better snapper than I am. Like, look at it. Like, this is.
But again, poet. That's why the beat poet.
Exactly.
It's innate. It's innate. But I bring that up because this is the Summer Shorts homegrown edition, right? All of y'all are from Miami, and I was wondering, when she says something like these are the voices that need to hit the mainstream and represent what it means to be American today, but it's it's from Miami, but it's greater than Miami. When putting together your respective plays, was there a certain element that you said, this is something that is universal, but also has a very distinctly Miami flavor to it? Because I think that's one of the things that we have found, and I'll speak on behalf of the podcast, is, we can't be two white guys from Kansas because we're not, right? We're two Cubans from Miami. But in that specificity, we have found that we have reached an audience, as far as, I'm not kidding, Cambodia. So is there something to be said for that when putting your when writing your plays, when sitting down to it, that you feel, maybe you didn't even think about it initially, but you're like, yeah, this is kind of Miami-ish, even though there is a universality to it?
I think that kind of comes out naturally because I don't know. I think Miami kind of sometimes gets undermined in the art scene. And
Sometimes?
All the time, practically. We kind of have to fend for ourselves, and artists either feel like they have no choice but to go to LA or New York or Atlanta now to try to figure it out and make it out. And there are so many voices here, and it's so diverse. But I think a lot of the problem with the industry is that when those voices show up, the expectation is, oh, it doesn't sound Latino enough. See, that's not what we were looking. We were looking for something that sounded a bit more ethnic. And it's just all of these microaggressions, right, about our work and about what we're trying to say. When at the end of the day, what I wrote, whether you deem it to be like too Miami or not Miami enough, if it's like universal or not universal enough, at the end of the day, no one else could have written it but me, right? And I am put in, right, by all of this background of like being super proud to be from Miami, right? I've been here since like I was 7. I'm so proud to have been raised here. And I think all of those influences of where I've lived and the friends I've had and the kind of relationships I've built in this city and because of this city, that will always come in through my work. So it's kind of like, it's an integral part of who I am as an artist, and you can't really take it away. It's never gonna be like enough sometimes for some industry members.
And you know, I was born in Miami, and when I was growing up, I couldn't wait to get out. I was like, I'm so ready to get out of Miami. Like, Miami's terrible. Like, I'm gonna move somewhere else. And then I was out. I did well. No, so
but as a creative, you do have that feeling at some point, right?
Yeah.
Like, really.
I love Miami. I was born in Miami. I was raised in Miami, I love Miami. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else but Miami. And I'm not just saying this because I'm on this podcast. And
it's okay. Sometimes we hate Miami, so it's okay.
I'm being rude. Go ahead.
No. Like, I love it now. Like, it took me to leave Miami to understand what we have here, because Miami is such a unique city in that you have so many people from all over the world, and people who, you know, had to come here either by choice or necessity, and started a home here in a city that was really transformed by the people that moved here. And so we're like these hybrids, you know, in that we're not like me, for example. I was born of Cuban parents, and I'm not uniquely Cuban. I'm not uniquely American. I find myself in the middle. And I think we are reaching a point in Miami where a lot of us are starting to come into our voice. And I think when we do, like, I think there's a lot of really interesting voices that are coming out of Miami that, like Vanessa said in that quote, are redefining what it means to be American and enlarging that tent.
Yeah, and my thing is when I'm writing, I'm not necessarily thinking about, oh my goodness, I'm from Miami. So I need to put, you know, these elements that people associate with Miami. I'm Lolita. Name straight, I'm Lolita. So it's just, like Ariel said, it's what is innately in me. It's what I want to express and what I want to write. I want to write things that I care about, that I'm passionate about. Because if I'm not doing that, what's the point?
I want to touch on something specifically, actually, with you, Lolita, based on something that Ivan said. Is, you know, he said, like, oh, we're finally finding that, you know, we have this voice or what have you. But, you know, you were saying, like, you always loved Miami. You always felt like, you know what, I didn't want to leave, which I on a personal note from experience found to be the exception in terms of how creatives tend to feel, or at least used to feel growing up in Miami. It was like, well, I got to go to New York and get that, you know, do the boards and all that. Ivan said something to the extent of, like, we're finally feeling like our voice is emerging. Do you think it's that the voice is emerging, or that we're finally being acknowledged that we have a voice? I agree
with that. I think it's always been here, percolating. I've been here working the whole time, mostly being a poet, but writing. And I can write anywhere. It doesn't have to be in New York. It could be outside over there by our cars. If I have an idea, I'm pulling over, baby. Write this down.
I believe you when you say that.
So, I mean, I could be in New York. I could be in Atlanta. I could be anywhere. But for me, this is home. I put on my flip-flops. The sun is outside. And what better place than this? I have artist friends, and all they do is when I do go to workshops, they're like, "You're from where? You're from Miami? I want to move to Miami. So why would I want to leave here? There's never been a thought in my mind. For me, it's either here. It's either going to happen here, or it's okay.
It's going to happen wherever you are.
Exactly.
Not where you are.
Exactly.
I love it. They're nice and all that. You're kind of my favorite right now.
Oh, I agree.
No, it's fine. We are also in the Lolita fan club.
Okay, good. Do I get a button for when I leave, like, that says "I heart Lolita"? Because if not, we can make it.
The button is Lolita likes to mark people.
Oh my God, yes.
She's very specific about giving kisses on the cheek after she has put lipstick on. So that's the button.
I will wear that as a badge of honor. We will see, listeners, if it happens at the end of the show. I may post a picture of it.
Happen.
I don't know. So, you know, kind of to bring it a little bit back to, you know, just you're all playwrights, but you've done poetry, you've done some acting and directing, dramaturg, which is, for those who don't know, a dramaturg, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is essentially somebody who comes in and kind of does punch ups on somebody else's script. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, the role of the dramaturg is like very encompassing, and actually, like if you look at like the programs, the master programs that like do dramaturgy, they all define it very differently.
Oh, okay.
So it's very all encompassing. The way that I approach it, it's more so if I get invited into a room, more so in the realm of like play development, right? It's finding those like arcs and making sure that like things are running smoothly within the story. And then also from the realm of being like, okay, when you are talking about things that are either historical or either things that require so much context, making sure that that context is present within the play and enough context that the audience might need. So it just depends on what the project needs and what that particular playwright needs or that play development needs. But the role of the dramaturg is very expensive.
All right, so it sounds like it's the ultimate like project manager on steroids, evolved Pokemon, like just next level, like.
The thing is that it's fun to me, but I was actually talking to some other dramaturgs that I met in New York a couple of weeks ago, that they were saying how that it's a role that like people kind of undermine a lot, and the other actors sometimes feel like, what are you doing here? Like, what is the point of you being here and like just giving your notes to the playwright? And then in the end they'll be like, oh, once all the line changes come in, they're like, oh, this makes sense.
Once their character starts to make sense,
right,
they appreciate it. Right. Exactly. But so I was, where I was going with it was actually more, at what point did each of you kind of realize, I can be a playwright, like, because writing is something that, I think at some point everybody probably thinks like, I can write a book, or everybody thinks they have a story in them, right? For better or worse, everybody thinks they have a story in them. But at what point did each of you kind of go, no, I really do, and let me start down this path? I don't know if this is your first attempts at play, like, quote unquote, I don't know if I'm saying this properly, like proper playwriting in the sense that, working with this program it seems kind of like a creative stewardship in a sense, or if this is like your 10th play that you've written. I don't know the context, but how did that all kind of happen for each of you? They're all staring at each other. I'll
go. I love it. I have been wanting to write for a long time, but to me, out of all of the things, all of the creative kind of roles in the theater, writing is the most vulnerable, because you are finding a story that's coming from within you, and often we don't even know what's in that story. There's stuff in there that we have no idea, and then the audience sees it and they're like, oh my God, that and that and that, and you're like, oh my, like you're looking into my soul right now. And so it can be kind of scary. And so for a long time, like I would get these ideas, and I have ideas for plays that, I've been thinking about for like 15 years. And I would like write the first scene, and then the writing process was torture for me, because I would sit there and I had this picture in my head, and I feel like I instinctively understood that I was not at the kind of talent level yet to bring it to where I saw it in my head. And so
we're also our own worst critics.
Yeah. But, over time and doing other things and stuff like that, like now I'm finding myself at the page in a very different way. I'm getting out of my way a lot more and embracing the mystery and embracing discovering things on the page. And it's, I love it. And I really feel I still want to do the other things, but writing's what I really want to do. And so this program, Homegrown, and with Vanessa and with the 7 other amazing playwrights that we have been blessed to be working with, it really has made me feel like a playwright, and that's very It's wonderful.
Yeah, I think for me, like it's
For a minute, I swear, I thought you guys were going to rock, paper, scissors.
yeah,
to see
I was like, you go or I go, or you go or I go. Oh, let's figure it out. Well, you can only do two? What do you mean? It's rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Not just rock, paper. It's three and then you chew. Do it again. Do it again.
Okay.
You really do wish this was a video.
I really do.
Yeah, this is.
Okay, there we are.
Go ahead.
All right.
I've been given permission to speak. No, so I mean, I was told that I was like writing plays since I was like a very young kid. I would like put my family all together and I would give them all lines and I would say, this is how you do it. And this is what you speak. And yes, I know.
So you were a director from an early age
I was
as
directing,
well.
I was writing, I was doing the whole thing. And it's just theater has been like innately in my bones from a very young age. And I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And I kept telling like my family, was like, I think this is it. I know this is it. And I was just very focused on my studies for a really long time because I needed to get a full ride to college. So I had to focus on that, and that became the priority. And I did everything I had to do. I busted my butt to do that. And once I guaranteed that I had the full ride in junior year, I went to my parents. I was like, I did what I had to do. Please let me do theater senior year. And I showed up to the theater teacher, and I was like, I am writing a play.
Senior year of high school.
Senior year of high school. And I was like, I'm writing a play. And it was the first time, I had written stuff before, but it was the first time that I was like, I am doing this because I've given myself the time. I did everything that I needed to, and I've given myself the time now. And I wrote my first one act. And I submitted to the thespian festival that all the high school kids do here. And at that time, one of the judges was Susan Westphal, who is the founder of City Theater. And such a lovely human being, by the way. And she read my play, and she was like, I love this. And it was like the first time that was so validating, because I didn't even show it to my teachers or my classmates. Like, she kind of was like, you guys didn't even do a reading of this? And my teacher was like, why wouldn't you even let us read it? And I was like, I just thought it was bad. And it was her who was like, you have what it takes. And she invited me to be a part of a program that City Theater did in 2017 called Next Gen Young Playwrights, which was for high school students. And I met some other phenomenal playwrights. Actually, one of the playwrights in this cohort now, Vanessa Garcia, I met through there as well. So it's all becoming very full circle. But I always thank City Theater for being the first ones to see me, recognize me at a young age, and be like, go, do. And I think that that's where I always I'm like, okay, once I figured out and I had the support of people, I was like, okay, I can be an artist. And I think a lot of people in the city just need that, that like push
That's true.
and that support to be like, you got this. Because as Lolita was saying, the art is there, right? Like, it's not, we don't have to look outside of Miami for the art. The artists are here. A lot of them just need that little extra push to tell them like, you got this, there's outlets for you, you can do this. And so yeah, that's how my career sort of started out. And now I'm back here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, that means you're up, Lolita.
Yes, I'm up. Mine is a little, I don't know. I spent a lot of time working. I was an inner city school teacher.
Oh, wow.
For many years at Brownsville Middle School. And yeah, no, but you know what? It's so strange because I love middle school kids. That's why I did it for so long. But that kind of got in the way of me being able to pursue some things I wanted to pursue. Things would happen. I was one of those artists where things would happen, something amazing would happen, but then I'd have to go back to work. I started out as a screenwriter. I was actually a part of the Sundance Institute that came here, and I loved writing screenplays, but it was so demanding. And then I had my daughter, and it was just hard. So then I was like, okay, poetry, something that I can, So for many years I did that. So here was the weird thing. I got this fellowship in Tennessee. In poetry, and when I was there, they said, well, you have to take something else. You can't just take a class in poetry. So I was like, okay, playwriting. So I went into the playwriting
Well, you'd already done
program.
screenwriting. Why wouldn't playwriting?
Right. So I said, that's a natural. I don't know that much about the theater, but let's see. And then I wrote this play. And then I came back here and I said, I'm going to submit it. This is good. But actually, it wasn't. I thought it was.
I'm sure it was better than you think it was.
I said, I'm going to submit it. So I submitted it to the Cultural Affairs Council. And Adriana Perez called me and she said, it was good, but you've got work to do. And I said, okay, listen, if something ever comes up and it's playwriting, tell me, please. Okay, I promise. So she knew about Homegrown, the city theater, because I knew nothing of it. And she asked them to give me a call when this opened up. And I asked Gladys, hey Gladys, girl, how you doing? No, you listening to this podcast. So I asked Gladys, I said, well, do I have to submit a play? Because I only have one, and it's the one that is a problem. And she said, no, you can submit anything. So I submitted my poetry. Okay. And that's how I got in. And these are my brothers here. I love them. They know. We fight.
We love you back.
But we love each other so much.
Brothers are.
That's it.
But
Go ahead.
But that's the thing about Miami, though. Like, I think, I don't know. Like, there's this like friendship kind of bond thing that happens, which I'm not saying it doesn't happen anywhere else.
Yeah.
But it's a very unique kind of thing. And so, over these, how many months have we been doing?
And you know
Almost a
what?
year.
It's so
Almost a year.
weird because
Wait,
it seems like it's been forever.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like it seems like I've
Yeah.
known you guys
Yeah.
for 25 years.
Yeah,
but
it's so weird. Like,
wait, hasn't
this
been
is
that long.
this has been going on for a year.
Yeah.
The workshop
yeah,
of it all.
we started.
Yes.
We started
year?
in like
Oh,
I think
I think
June.
less
I
than
didn't
a
know
year.
it was that long.
Almost a year.
I thought it was
Almost a
like
year.
3. I thought it was like 3 months or something. Like kind of
No.
No, we've been, and Vanessa's never going to get rid of us. You hear that, Vanessa? Vanessa's never get rid of us.
She knew what she signed up for.
But no,
knew.
it's wonderful. You put these 8 playwrights together from different backgrounds and different experience levels and stuff like that, and we start working together. And that's, Vanessa, the way that she kind of structured the program was we did a lot of writing together. And there's actually something that's kind of been born out of that some of us are doing, where we're creating a collective piece
Yes.
that we're all writing together. We all created a character. And then, like Dungeons and Dragons style, Vanessa was like, okay, Lolita and Ivan's character in a park, go. And we're like on a Google Doc and just writing.
Right, because I wasn't there. It was the one time I was not in the room, and we started writing. This is so funny. I was like, oh my God, this is my first time doing this as a playwright. And Ivan was like, okay. And so I wrote this character. Go ahead.
No, yeah.
No, I wrote this character. It's like this very mystical, supernatural character. And then I said, the character's name is Q. I said, Q is in the trees, in the tree. And Ivan was like,
Wait, Q appears as whispering
yes,
leaves
that's
in
what
a
I
tree.
said. Where's the poet?
I will never forget that line, Lolita. I will never forget that line.
And if you would have seen his face on Zoom,
great.
how do I respond
Like,
to this?
wait, is she in the tree or is she part
of the tree?
Like, what? But then the scene just came out that we wrote in like 10 minutes.
Oh my goodness, with my character and his character, and it was so funny. And usually I don't lean towards like that comedy kind of thing, but it was just happening organically, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And we're still going with these characters. So you gotta have us on again.
Listen, I will make it known right now, I will have you all on anytime you want, because I'm having such a flipping blast right now. Like it's a little scary. That I'm having this much fun with people I just met. But honestly, I gotta say, like, your vibe is very contagious. Just what I'm getting from the three of you, and listening to you talk about the program. Again, I thought it was maybe like 3-month course type of thing where you kind of come in with the initial idea of the play, and then you kind of work with Vanessa to sort of, final draft it, and then maybe share it with one another, give notes. Like I had a very different thought about what it was, but what I'm seeing here, and I'm going to tie it back to, as kind of we come to a close, I'm going to tie it back to the Arsht Center, is the City Theater and Vanessa and the program, and just what I'm getting from just the 3 of you, and I'm assuming it expands to all 8, is a sense of community. Is that there is this brotherhood, sisterhood, familial. There's no one else who can speak to this experience because you 8 are the only one who are having it, and nobody else will ever understand. They may do another course next year, but it won't be this course.
Right.
This is unique in that sense, and that's so similar to what I was saying earlier about the Arsht Center, in terms of really they look to give back to the community. So you guys came together as a community to create something for the community at a location that is about giving back to the community, and I think that's kind of lost a lot of times nowadays, especially where everybody, particularly after the pandemic, if you think about it, everybody kind of went off and had to be on their own, had to be very siloed. And you guys are like, yeah, that's cute, but no, we're gonna work together and collaborate. And people lose sight of that, I think, a lot of times nowadays.
Yeah, especially I think artists, a lot of artists, it depends on the medium, but a lot of artists sometimes think that it's so singular and so unified. And I think for playwrights, normally it's like a very lonely journey because it's just
I thought so.
Alone in your room, in the darkness, just conceiving life onto the page.
Turn on the lights, Ariel.
Right?
Okay, turn the lights on.
I think Ariel's going through some stuff. I think I realize that your last name in Italian is Onion, but you don't have to be underground like one. It's okay.
There's better methods to write. I know that. No, but I do think that once the beauty of theater is finding that it's a collaborative craft. It cannot exist. A play means nothing if it's just words on a page that I just wrote and I put it away in a closet. It breathes life once you start having a director in it, once actors start putting words into it and breathing life into the piece. It gains complete new meaning. And I think the more that we become appreciative of theater as a collaborative space, and then when we start inviting audiences, I'm so excited just for audiences to come and start being part of that conversation with us, because I think a lot of these pieces have something to say about this city. They have something to say about our humanity. And having these conversations with our audience, it's not just, yes, come enjoy. It's going to be such a fun show. Genuinely, all 8 plays are phenomenal. I am impressed with every single person in this program. But I also just the beauty of what theater does to us. And I think I just cannot wait to have people through the doors and to get people talking about our pieces and just have these conversations about what it means to be Miamense, in 2023.
Yeah, and Summer Shorts has a long history in the city. It's over 25 years. But this is the first time that it's featuring 8 plays exclusively written by Miami playwrights. And I really think, we're in the rehearsal process, and just listening to these plays and knowing where they're coming from, I think it's gonna rank up there with the best.
I'm just going to go ahead and say I haven't seen your plays, but based on what I'm getting from you guys, the bar has been set. Because I have to say, legit, the love and the passion that I'm getting from all of you guys, just talking about the experience. You guys, and I mean this is the best way possible, you're not even really talking about your individual plays, right? The fact that you're speaking about it collectively as this experience that you can't wait to share, I think that speaks volumes, because you know what? Look, I have a podcast. I always talk up my show. Anybody can talk up their own project, right? That's part of the job. You have to. But you guys are doing it collectively about just the theater as a medium. And that excites the hell out of me. So I can't wait to see all of your shows.
This is fam.
Yeah.
For me. And I think you can feel, you can't fake that.
No.
For me, it maybe not blood, but they're family. They're family. I got to mention Margaret on this podcast. That's my auntie. Margaret. Auntie, you hear me?
Margaret,
you hear me, Margaret?
The artistic director
yes,
of the city.
Margaret Ledford. I love her. For me, this has been God sent because everybody involved in this has been so generous. She texted me today and said, how was your for rehearsal? Yes, and how do you feel? And I said, blessed. Because that's how I really feel. I feel blessed just to have gone through this journey with Ivan, Ariel, and the other playwrights involved in this. And I can't wait. Are you coming?
I am coming.
Oh, right now.
I love that. That took a turn all of a sudden. She was talking about, which by the way, so far Lolita's the only one who's mentioned that she's bringing listeners to my show. I'm just putting that out there for you guys, okay? She's already mentioned 3 people who's like, I hope you're listening. I know you're listening. Or haven't heard anything from you guys, okay? I'm just gonna say that, so you need to get on it, because that's how this works. I need you to bring at least 3. It's like a Tupperware.
Right. It's like a little pyramid scheme.
It's like a pyramid scheme. Everybody's got to bring a listener, right? And then you become ultra mega listener, and then there's a whole it's a whole level thing. There's t-shirts, but no, yes, I am. I don't know when I'm going to be coming, but I will be coming because, listen, Miami folk, there's no excuse. It's only 1 week. I can't get the sitter. You know what? It is running from Friday, June 9th till Sunday, June 25th. Okay, so y'all have a month to get your asses down here and watch not 1, not 2, not 4, 8 short plays. Okay, you want to talk about a value. You want to talk about a value?
Absolutely.
You are getting a night at the theater with 8 different stories, 8 unique voices. And on top of that, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and plug this. Arsht did not ask me to do this, but they even have student tickets available for $15 with valid ID. Okay, so I don't even want to hear like, oh, it's so expensive, and then the parking and whatever. I'm like, you know what? If you're a student, you can pay $15, okay? And you know what? I know I've seen some of all y'all's shoes. You paid more than $15 for this, okay? All right, so don't even start with me. All right, but again, I just want to thank the 3 of you for swinging by, and I want to thank the Arsht Center for coordinating this and for putting this together and continuing to really make sure that voices as unique as yours and as your fellow playwrights are heard in Miami, when we think, as we've said here, sometimes we feel like maybe it's not that easy to get our voices heard, in the arts, but there definitely are ways to do it, and I'm so glad that it's being done by people like the 3 of you. So thank you so much for coming by the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.